Hey y'all, I am back, and I actually am literally back from LA. I went to the Harry Styles concert, that's why I didn't upload last week. I left on Wednesday, so I really only had 2 days last week to film, and I could have done it, but I didn't, whatever. But I'm back now, so it's fine. And I am back with more of your paranormal stories. I'm super excited to read them. I feel like I don't know, whenever I take a week off, I'm like, so excited to just read something. I don't know what it is. I miss the Reddit. I just miss it. And also, look at my shirt. It's Michael Myers eating ramen. Shut up. Shut up. I got it at the Melrose Trading Post. There's like a whole fucking stand full of just like random characters eating ramen. I got my sister Mickey Mouse eating ramen, and I'm so excited to give it to her. Also got a really cute corset, which I'm rambling. I should have saved this for the end. We're gonna get started. This first story says, my BFF and I nearly died. I'm gonna have like trouble speaking. I already know it because I haven't filmed in a while. We're gonna do our best. Hello, I've heard a lot about your channel and I'm excited to share my experiences. For some context, I've been friends with my friend, let's call him Leo, since diapers. Our families have known each other since they were in high school, and therefore Leo and I grew up close. Unfortunately, Leo's parents died when he was 5 and he had to move to Montana with his grandpa Tom. It's not his real name, but everyone at the reservation calls him that. Ever since then, I try to visit him whenever I can, and sometimes he comes to visit me. This year I went to visit him. Everything was chill for the first 3 days. We played video games, went to town, and generally just hung out. Now, something that should be noted is that Grandpa Tom has always told us to never go into the forest near his house during the nighttime. Whenever we asked why, he would simply reply that it would be too dangerous to do so because we would get lost or attacked by an animal. Now, I knew what Grandpa Tom said was probably true, but someone from town had told me that these woods were actually said to be haunted, because years ago, a witch had sacrificed 3 people in the name of Satan and then committed after the townspeople hung her son as an act of revenge. Shit. It is said that if you go far enough into the forest, you can find a giant pentagram on a stone altar, and that if you get close enough, you could potentially be cursed. It was the 4th night and I was incredibly bored, so Leo and I decided to play Truth or Dare. It was all going well until he dared me to go into the woods with him. I decided to go because after all, I really love exploring potentially haunted sites, so together we snuck out of the house. The walk towards the forest was pretty normal until we went further in and I sensed someone was watching us. I also felt an immense sense of danger, anger, and evil. I grabbed Leo's arm and said, "Leo, we have to get out of here. It doesn't feel safe to go any further." He simply replied, "Oh, are you scared?" Something seemed off about Leo. His expression was blank. I usually don't scare easily because I've experienced paranormal stuff my whole life, but something was off about my friend. It was almost as if he was possessed. I let go of his arm, and as I was about to pull out my phone to call Grandpa Tom for help, Leo grabbed my arm with such an immense force and looked me in the eye and said, "That won't work. No one can help you now." He then started laughing like a maniac, and I struggled to get away from his tight grip. I was so scared, so I did what my mom always told me to do if someone tried to kidnap me. I kicked him in the nuts. That had seemed to startle him enough for him to loosen his grip, and I was able to break free and run back towards Grandpa Tom's house. As I was running, I heard Leo yelling profanities, and suddenly he started running behind me. He seemed to be running with an inhuman-like speed. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of me, which seemed next to impossible. I was tired, but I was not about to let myself be killed in those wretched woods. I ran back towards where we had been when he attacked me, and as I looked back, he just stood there smiling. Something was really off, but I kept running until I came across an altar with a pentagram on it. I read this part of the story and I was like, shut the fuck up, but I also hadn't read the first part, so now I'm even more like, shut the fuck up. I thought this had to have been the infamous altar where the witch had done her sacrifices. That place radiated extreme evil. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to help my friend. I just wanted to go back to the safety of home. I was so tired that I fell on my knees and started crying, when all of a sudden I got an immense headache and nauseating feeling. There was a lady walking towards me. She seemed nice and innocent, but I knew better because she was emanating evil and there was a smell of rotting flesh. I knew I had to get out of there, but I seemed to be frozen in place. I did the only thing I could think of, which was pray. I'm an atheist, but I didn't know what else to do. I think they're leaf blowing right now, and I think they're getting closer to me, so I'm probably gonna stop here, take a little break. Okay, I think they're kind of far away now, so we're gonna just keep reading, and if they come closer, I'll stop again. I prayed and prayed for everything to be okay. I opened my eyes to see she was just standing looking at me while she held an unconscious Leo in her grip. I looked right back at her, and I prayed out loud. To this day, I don't know why, but I started praying in Latin and then in Italian. I know these languages, it was just weird. The more I prayed, the angrier she got. The angrier she got, the louder I prayed. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out of nowhere. The witch turned around startled, but I resumed my praying. She turned to look back at me, and with the raspiest voice ever, she said, "I just wanted more souls for my collection. I guess I'll have to claim other ones. Either way, your soul seems to belong to someone else." I got chills all over when she said that. She just dropped Leo and slowly disappeared into the night. I ran towards his unconscious body and tried waking him up. He wouldn't wake up. I cried and screamed his name, but it was no use. I thought he was dead. I cradled my best friend while I cried and sobbed. I thought I would die too because it was extremely cold. All my hopes were lost when by some miracle I heard Grandpa Tom yelling our names. I yelled back and he ran towards us. The rest of the night went by like a breeze. Grandpa Tom took us to the hospital. Leo was thankfully fine. You may not believe me, but I swear I will never go back into those woods again. I'm just like, it's so crazy. Like, it is unbelievable, but it's like unbelievable in a way that like I believe you. Like, how the fuck do you make that up? I don't know. You have to be like so creative to make that shit up. Also, I believe everything, so you guys could tell me that like the dumbest shit happened and I would be like, oh, really? I believe everything. You should have kicked her. I liked your idea of kicking him, and then you should have just kicked her in the shin or the knee or in the kneecaps. I don't know. Should have kicked her. This next story says, get that board out of here. Hello, Courtney. I recently came across your channel and thought you and your followers might find my Ouija board story interesting. For as long as I can remember, I've had an interest in the spiritual world and thought it would be cool to communicate with the dead. So back in 2014, my mom was browsing around the local Facebook buying-selling group and she came across someone selling a used Ouija board. It caught her attention because it was a glow-in-the-dark, limited edition, and she decided to buy it for me. She remembered playing with one as a child and thought I would enjoy it too since we talked about it in the past. My mom then contacted the seller, who would stop by and drop off the board. It was one of those stormy, gloomy, almost spooky days when the guy came to the house to bring us the board. As soon as I saw it, I got a bad vibe. Once the guy left, I told my mom, I don't feel safe using that. I want to do some research first. My mom was surprised at my reaction because before this point, I'd been interested in playing with it. I ended up surfing the web, watching YouTube videos, and hearing many stories, most of which were bad, which made me feel uncomfortable about trying the Ouija board. My mom ended up packing it away in a box on our porch, where it stayed for many years. This brings us to the spring of 2022. By now I'd gotten really interested in the paranormal, had learned a lot more about Ouija boards and how dangerous they could be. So I reached out to my mom and asked, remember that Ouija board you put on the porch years ago? I think you need to get rid of it, because I heard just having one in the house can bring on bad luck and negative energy. It's weird because since moving to this house in 2014, we hadn't had a lot of good experiences. She replied, oh, I actually got rid of it last time I reorganized the porch. So let's fast forward to summer. I'm back at my mom's house. I go to school in a different part of the county, but return to her house in the summer. Once back there, I started hearing strange stuff in my bedroom, like whispering. I thought perhaps it was just the air conditioner, but it honestly sounded like voices, and I never heard anything of that sort until the summer. I also sensed the Ouija board was still in the house. I decided to go look for it on the porch. That's when I see the Ouija box, tucked away in a clear storage bin. I grabbed it and brought it to my mom. As we looked in the box, we both noticed it was different. The board in the box looked like new. When we opened it, the planchette was still in its own separate wrap. This was not how we remembered the board. When my mom got it from the guy, it had been used. The box had some wear and tear and the planchette wasn't wrapped in anything. At this point, we're both weirded out and just wanted that thing out of the house. I had heard that Ouija boards could come back and change if you don't properly dispose of them. For the time being, we put it in our backyard because we weren't sure how to get rid of it. We wanted it out of the house, but leaving it on our property wasn't a smart move on our part. Bad things started happening. The first thing was my father got into a minor car accident. This was the only time in his life he'd been in an accident in all of his 45 years of driving. Next, our basement flooded. Town sewage backed up into the basement. Nasty, I know. Before this, we had a dry basement, which had only gotten wet once due to someone leaving a window open during a bad storm. The third thing was when we had a handyman come over and the guy almost fell through our basement stairs. He wasn't hurt, but it really scared my mom. She ended up getting the stairs replaced, even though it was very expensive. Then, another thing happened to my dad, which proved to be the scariest of all. There was a big fire in his apartment building. Multiple units were destroyed, including the one right above him. Thankfully, no one was injured. His unit did suffer some water damage, so he was forced to move out. It would take at least 6 months for renovations to his apartment, so he couldn't move back in right away. One final thing happened while the Ouija board was still in the backyard. My mom and I noticed we didn't have any hot water, so we went to the basement and discovered the water heater wasn't working. We tried to reset it, but couldn't get it back on. A repairman came to check it out and told us the unit had overheated. Fortunately, there was a safety setting that shut it off before it got dangerously hot. He then explained that the water heater's thermostat was faulty, or it should have never have gotten that hot. If the safety switch hadn't shut it off, it could have blown up. We were lucky. One thing I noticed is that even with all these close calls, no one was harmed. It was almost as if something or someone was watching out for us. After that last thing happened with the hot water heater, my mom and I agreed that we needed to get that Ouija board off of our property. It seemed to be bringing us bad luck, and we were worried that things might get worse. Even my dad was having bad luck, although my parents were divorced and he had never lived in the house with us. My mom decided to get rid of the board. She planned to bring it to the town dump. She had separated the board from the planchette so she could toss them in 2 different garbage bins at the dump. As my mom was driving to the dump, she noticed something odd. At a neighbor's down the street, there was a hearse, I think that's how you say it. For some reason, I'm blanking on how to say that word. There was a hearse parked in the driveway. Parked? Did I say parked? Parked. A vintage hearse from the 1970s. She texted me about it, and I said, that's weird, but sometimes people buy old hearses. My mom then disposed of the Ouija board at the dump and headed home. On her way back, she drove past the neighbor's house and saw the hearse was gone. There was only a dumpster that had been sitting in the driveway. My mom had never seen a hearse in the neighbor's driveway before that day and hasn't seen one since. Hearse sounds, it's not a word. It doesn't sound like a word, but I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Like, for some reason, my mind is like, that's not how you say that. But also at the same time, I don't know how else you would say it. Am I going crazy? Anyways, later that week, my mom and I were at Barnes & Noble and decided to have a coffee at the Starbucks there. Guess what we saw? When we dropped off our serving tray, tucked away near the milk and sugar was a Ouija board. I know they sell them at Barnes & Noble, and I guess someone could have left it there, but it totally freaked us out. Oh, I would be so terrified. I wouldn't even care. Like, I would walk in the toy section or whatever fucking section they're in, and I would see them, and I would just be terrified no matter what. Also, I can't swear as much. YouTube released, like, this thing, like, I don't know, terms and conditions. They, like, updated it, and they're really, like, what the fuck is the word? I can't say that. They're really punishing, I can't think of what I'm trying to say. They're really punishing you for like swearing a lot now, like demonetizing your videos, so I really have to watch out for what I say, which is gonna be hard, but I'll just bleep it. This last story says they were never hallucinations. Hey Courtney, if you read this, my name is Josie and I've been watching your videos for 6 years. That's crazy! I just wanted to say that your videos are some of my favorite to watch. I'm not very good at introductions, so I'll just jump right into this. I've always been told that I'm relatively in tune with everything that happens around me, so I have many stories, but these will be my favorites and ones I remember the most. My first story feels as though it was one of my first memories. Every year, my family travels north to see our relatives for Christmas, seeing as we only see them twice a year. We used to stay at my grandparents' house all the time, and I have vivid memories of sleeping in my dad's and uncle's old room, which has a small window that points directly towards a cornfield, has a bush sitting right in front of the window. The window isn't high, and it's parallel to the bunks that are in the room. I would usually sleep on the top bunk. Being the little kid I was, I would often complain to my mom about seeing something outside the window. Of course, she would always say I didn't. Fast forward the last year we stayed at my grandparents for Christmas. The last night we were there, I woke up in the middle of the night and looked at the small clock that was sitting in the corner of the room, which read somewhere between 2 to 3 a.m. Everyone else in the house was asleep, and my cousin was sleeping on the bottom bunk. I had a very strange urge to look out the window, and what I saw will forever be burned into the back of my mind. What I saw was a tall man with glowing red eyes and a top hat. Mind you, it was 2 to 3 a.m. It was a long time ago, I can't remember what time exactly. So it was dark. All I could see was a shadow. Needless to say, I haven't gone into that room since then, and this was probably 12 years ago. My second story was from the same week, but it wasn't quite as vivid as that one. And although this was about 12 years ago, it ties into something that just happened recently. Like I said, I was sleeping in that room when I had a very vivid dream, or perhaps it was sleep paralysis. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I remember being unable to move but conscious, and I was staring at the ceiling when it felt like something pulled me, as in grabbed me and pulled me away from the bed and downstairs into my grandparents' basement. The basement is really old, with an open area on one side and an old workshop on the other side. The workshop is super creepy and would be the place you would expect someone to see something, except that wasn't the case. The next thing I remember was standing, still unable to move, and staring at this black, hunched over figure with red eyes and long claws. But it didn't seem malevolent, it just looked scary. It opened its mouth like it was trying to tell me something, as if it was warning me about something in the workshop area of the basement. It wouldn't go that way, as if it was scared. That was the same moment I woke up. Scarily enough, a few weeks ago over Christmas, my aunt found a pair of Ouija boards in the exact place it was pointing to. When she brought those boards up into the room I was in, I instantly felt sick and began to cry. I didn't see, but almost felt the same figure I saw so long ago standing in the doorway, but it couldn't come into the room. I got up and left the house and felt instantly better. I still don't know what that entity was trying to show me. I have a lot of other stories that I can share, but this is what I will type for now. I can write again, hopefully soon. You have to tell us more. I want to know more about your grandparents' house, because I feel like you had to have had more experiences there. No? Also, whose Ouija boards were they? Who's doing that? They're the ones who did this. It's all their fault. that is all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any stories like this that you want to share with the community, I will have my subreddit link down below. I've had a lot of people posting lately who don't flare their story, so if you do post a story, make sure you flare it as like, let's not meet paranormal. If it's like a fictional story, it's no sleep or there's glitch in the matrix now. Just make sure you're flaring it. It just makes it a lot easier for me to go through. If you don't care to make my life easier, that's fine. I read them anyways. I just have to figure out if it's paranormal or let's not meet. Like some of these weren't flared, and so I just had to like read the story to find out. It's not that hard, but it just makes it a little bit easier if you flare it. It also makes it easier for other people in the community if they like are wanting to read paranormal stories. They can just click on the paranormal tab and then your story will show up. You know what I mean? It just makes it easier. Everyone's lives are easier. It takes 2 seconds, come on. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna go because I have a lot of rambling to do at the end of this because I did see Harry, and I'm gonna go into that whole thing. I have to burp. But yeah, okay, I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so I went to LA last Wednesday and I went to the Harry show on Thursday. I don't know what the fuck I did. I was drinking beer, you know, just a girly drinking her beer, and I was like, I had 2 beers, and they're like pretty big, but like I drink like every weekend, so sometimes sometimes my tolerance makes no sense to me because I feel like typically if I were to drink like 2 big beers, like I would be like buzzed, but I wouldn't be like fucked up. I was pretty drunk after my 2nd beer, and then I was like texting someone and I was like, do I get a 3rd? They were like, yeah. So I got a 3rd beer. Oh my God, I was like blacked out. Like, do I remember the show? Yeah, a little bit, but do I remember the show? No. I have videos on my phone that I don't remember taking, but I remember like singing and I remember him performing, but I also feel like the night went by really fast. Like, I'm pissed at myself. I'm pissed at myself because I spent so much money getting these pit tickets to get that hammered. Like, come on, be fucking for real, Courtney. I don't know. It was a really fun night. It was so much fun. We did the boot scoot. I'm pretty sure we were the only people doing it. I went with my friend Demi. I'm pretty sure we were the only people doing it, but I also don't think I was even doing it. I think I was flailing around like an idiot because I was so drunk. I don't know. It was a great night though. Like, I had so much fun. And I remember I had to go to the bathroom at one point really bad because I was drinking beers, and I came back and he was singing What Makes You Beautiful. I was gonna punch myself in the throat at that very moment. I almost missed it, but I did get a video of like, I think like the end of the song. I have videos, but they're hard to watch because I'm singing in all of them. And typically, like when I went to the 1975 and I was filming videos, like I wouldn't sing because you don't want that. Like you want to like look back at the memory and just like have the show and not you being like, in the background. Oh my God, it's so bad. And my friend Demi has videos of us like singing and shit, and they're so humiliating to watch because I am just not there. I am gone. Oh, it was fun though. Oh, it was so much fun. I love Harry. It was a great experience. Do I wish I hadn't gotten that drunk? Absolutely. Absolutely. My camera's gonna die, but it's fine. And then I went to the Melrose Trading Post and got this on Sunday before I left. It was fun. We just kind of hung out the whole weekend, whatever. We just kind of like chilled around, ate a lot of food. But we went to the Melrose Trading Post on Sunday and I got this, and I got my sister one, like I said, it's like Mickey Mouse. And then I also got this really cute like pink velvet corset I'm gonna wear on my birthday. Oh, it's beautiful. But yeah, I'm gonna go because my camera's dying. I didn't charge it because I'm an idiot, so. But I don't really think I have anything else to tell you. I blacked out at Harry Styles, so yeah. I woke up the next day, I wasn't terribly hungover. I was like I felt sick in the morning and I felt like gross, but I wasn't like puking all day, which is great because I got very drunk. It happens, you know, it's whatever. And then I'm actually kind of upset because I don't watch football. I know fucking nothing about football, but I wanted the Bengals to win because if the Bengals won, one of my friends was coming to, because the Super Bowl's in Arizona. One of my friends was going to come to Arizona, but now he's not coming because they didn't win, and I'm pissed about it. I'm like, come on, like how fucking hard is it? Probably very hard, but I'm also happy the Chiefs won because the Chiefs is also, I know the coach. I don't know him personally, but like Andy Reid, I think, is my high school best friend's uncle. Fun fact for you. I don't know why I'm telling you that. It's like not even cool for me to tell you that at all because it has nothing to do with me, but it's like still cool. But yeah, so that's fun. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna fucking leave. I love you guys so much. I don't think I have any, yeah. I don't have time to tell you anything else. Okay, whatever, see ya.